Okay, hopefully I am live. Um, I still am not comfortable with Facebook Live, but here we go. I'm going to be talking about childhood anxiety. Uh, wow, it is such a common problem these days. At least 1 in 3 kids. That's some of the statistics coming out of the U.S. And what do we mean about childhood anxiety, anyways? Anxiety is an unrealistic fear or dread about something impending. It's unrealistic in that we have these tremendous feelings, or the child has this tremendous feeling about something bad that could occur. Yet, in reality, there's nothing bad. Oh, don't take me to school, don't take me to... And I'm not talking about the COVID stuff. That's realistic. It can be overblown, but that is tied to something in reality. Oh, I can't go to sleep. You have to stay with me. Why? What's going on? Oh, I'm just afraid. I'm afraid. I don't want to go to sleep. Or I don't want to go see this person. Or I can't go outside. So some children have these big feelings, but they're loosely tied to something in their environment. And they're loosely tied. I say that because whatever they're attaching their anxiety to, it's not really realistic. So the nature of anxiety is we have these big feelings. And when we have a big feeling, we're looking to attach it. We're looking to make sense of it. We're looking to tie it to something to help make sense to us of the big feeling. And because of that, it's weird, but people actually twist reality to fit the feeling. This is what makes it a disorder, by the way. When we have a big feeling that is independent, not anchored, not tied to something actual to be afraid of. So what does the parent do? Um, Typically, reasonably, the parent tries to reassure the child. There's nothing wrong. You're okay. Look, there's nothing to be afraid of. Come, I'll go with you. Oh, we'll do this. Oh, we'll try this. Let me help you do some deep breathing. Let me help you do this. And the nature of anxiety in a child and the nature of the parent takes on the responsibility for managing that child's anxiety. Here's the rub. The parent, as a parent, you can't manage the child's anxiety, and as we try to do so, we're trying to say, oh, these feelings are reasonable, even though we're saying, no, there's nothing to be afraid of. And what you wind up at the end of the day, and many of you have seen this, have experienced this, your help doesn't help. The child's anxiety blooms. It gets bigger very frequently, not less. Some have said, well, maybe it's just attention-seeking behavior in the child. No. It's not attention-seeking behavior. The child can legitimately have these feelings of fear and dread. And so rather than dismissing the feelings, there's a different approach. Well, there's several approaches, actually. You can send your child for cognitive behavioral therapy, which may or may not be successful. You can consider medication, which reasonably many parents are going to dread. And quite frankly, many of the medications haven't been proven safe for children because they are developed for adults. But those have been the primary approaches: CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, and medication. But there is a third, and that's therapy for the parents. You say, what? I don't have an anxiety disorder as the parent. Maybe you do, but my child has the problem. So I've been working with parents managing children's anxiety for years. But interestingly enough, a year or two ago, out of Yale, they did a study and they developed an approach working with parents. And what that study looked at was how inadvertently parents accommodate the child's anxiety. What do we mean by accommodate? Okay, let me take you to school. Okay, let me give you many more tries. Okay, let me give you so many warnings about the change that's about to occur. So as the parent accommodates the child in turn doesn't have to personally take responsibility. And it signals, in a sense, that the anxiety is, that there is something to be fearful of in a kind of paradoxical, roundabout way. So what I've been doing for years, and consistent with, this more recent Yale study, is helping the parents explain to the child, number one, the nature of nature and effect of anxiety, and number two, to actually be less accommodating. That can be scary for the parent. So how do we explain the nature of anxiety to the child? We explain, sweetheart, I use the term sweetheart, call your child whatever you want. You have these big feelings, and in fact, you have these big feelings kind of independent of what is going on. And to make sense of the big feelings, it's reasonable you look to attach those big feelings to things in your life. Going to school, going to bed, I don't know, loud noises, whatever it is. But the truth of the matter is, these are your feelings actually betraying you because there's nothing out there to be afraid of. And for some people, that's a mental health concern. And we have to be forthright. We have to explain these things to children in a way that they can understand, so that they can self-reflect, take responsibility, and manage. So yeah, you've got these big feelings, but they're actually not attached to anything. And that's a problem. And so the challenge is in recognizing that and managing the big feelings rather than letting them attach to things and saying that is it. So the child tries to externalize the feelings, yet we want the child to realize the feeling is real for you. It's a disorder because it really isn't attached to something out there. And so child, so sweetheart, because of that, I'm going to be less accommodating, because the more I do that, the more it suggests that there's something wrong, and the more I take responsibility for your feelings, which I can't. You're going to have to learn to do that. Yikes. I know, sweetheart, it's scary. So tonight when we go to bed, I'm just going to say goodnight. Hey, if you can't sleep, rather than a phone in their room, I'm going to put some books beside your nightstand so you won't sleep. You can enjoy a book, sweetheart. You can do that. Eventually you're going to fall asleep, whether it's tonight, tomorrow night. And the experience of the child, they're not going to like that. They're still going to push back. But you can't do that. I'm going to be afraid. And they'll give you 1,000 what ifs. That's, again, externalizing the anxiety, seeking to help make you responsible for managing their feelings. And you're going to look at them and go, oh, what ifs? Yeah, that's the anxiety speaking, sweetheart. And so I can't satisfy the what ifs. All I know is I'm going to give you a good smooch good night. There'll be beds by your bed, books by your bed, and I'll see you in the morning. And I love you. And I'm going to sleep well because even though you have big feelings, I know there's nothing to be afraid of, sweetheart. And let me tell you, the first time you implement this, it is a rough ride, typically. The child is going to protest. But until that child, in a sense, lives through the experience, realizes no harm came and no harm will come the result of owning the anxiety and living through the fear. Until that child does that, they're not going to realize that, oh my God, it was just a big feeling. Nothing bad happened. So we're wanting our kids to own their health, mental health issues, so that they learn to manage them independent of us. This is how we use the words enable. This is good enabling. This is good enabling. We're facilitating their self-management. If it's always our responsibility, they really don't need to take on these strategies. And in fact, sometimes we as the parent, we take on the anxiety, we get anxious, it reinforces more anxiety for the child. So we have to understand, yeah, these are big feelings. They are real. The child is experiencing them. But yet there's nothing bad. Wow. So, there's now 3 approaches. There always has been from my books, but Yale gives us 3 approaches. Cognitive behavioral therapy for the kids, medication for the kids, or parent looks at how they're accommodating and seeks to be less accommodating and more accepting of the reality, allowing the child to accept they have anxiety. It's educational from parent to child. I hope I haven't raised your anxiety. I hope I've given you a new way of thinking about how to help your child versus how you have been helping them. And I'm just going to look at some of the comments here. My daughter's going through it. It's scary. Boy, I needed to listen to this. Good. Love your posts. You have such a tender approach. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, dear. And, someone did have a terrible experience when a sibling did pass away. Okay? Then that's not anxiety per se. That's grief. That's loss. That's the randomness of life. And that can create a fear. And then we have to recognize how low frequency an event that is, and we have to learn to put that in perspective, which in those dire circumstances, yeah, that can take time and that can take counseling. So we want you to take care of yourselves. We want you to manage your own fears, your own anxieties. Anxiety is such a contagious emotion. And in so doing, we also want you to help your child to understand it's just a big emotion. We call it a disorder because it's disproportionate to whatever's going on, or it isn't even tied to what's going on. And so with that, we learn to discriminate and manage. And this is, by the way, a cognitive approach. This is a cognitive approach. We're teaching the child how to understand and how to differentiate and how to use thinking over and to master the big feelings. Okay, I think I've said enough for today. Hopefully this Facebook Live thing actually works. Thanks for following me. If you have found this helpful, it will be posted shortly. It's the way Facebook works. Share it if you think it could be of value to others. Now I got to figure out how to end it. And there we go. Take care.